welcome back to the Time for Heroes podcast. On the podcast today, I've got Amber May, a young singer-songwriter from High Wycombe, but she's travelled all over the world, and just in the last year or so, she started releasing her music. It's on Spotify. There are 4 songs there for you to listen to. I'm sure you'll all be impressed, and I don't want to touch too much on it because we'll get into it through the episode, but sounds very much familiar to some of the artists that have came before her. But what I like to do at the start, Amber, is go right back to the start. What was life like for a young Amber May growing up?
Well, my dad worked in business, so we were actually living quite internationally. I was born in High Wycombe, but when I was 1, we moved to America for my dad's work, and I spent my first 4 years of life there. And then when I was about 5, we came back to England, and my mom is a developmental psychologist, so she was always interested in alternative education and not mainstream schools. So I've been to many schools in my life as well. I came back to England and went to like 3 different schools in the space of 3 years. And then we had to move again for my dad's work, but to Singapore. But all the schools there are very academically strict. They expect a lot on the children. So my mom actually decided to homeschool me for 3.5 years, just me and my sister. And in this time, that's when I started really doing music tons. I got my first guitar. I started doing lessons, and I started writing music as well. So I must have been 8 or 9 at this point. And I decided that I wanted to be a rock star. I loved music. I wanted to do it for the rest of my life. It was the only thing I wanted to do. And yeah, so those 3 years were amazing. We did lots of music, lots of learning. And then before we came back to England, once my dad's job finished in that area, we went to Bali for a year. And I actually went to the Green School in Bali, which is this crazy like jungle school where there are no walls. There's just like bamboo posts and a little roof, and you sit in the middle of the jungle and learn. And I didn't wear shoes for like 4 years of my life. I was in flip-flops, walking around barefoot, climbing trees. So it was really, really incredible. And then we came back to England right for year 7. And of course, as you can imagine, I was like the opposite of the normal kid in year 7. I went into the most mainstream school in the world, and I was probably the strangest kid that had ever been through that school.
I was looking on the website at the Green School, and it looks beautiful.
It was incredible.
Did that then? Obviously, you said you were into your music, you were into your writing. But then was that helpful, that school and that sort of aspect?
Definitely, and they were very big on helping the environment and things like this, and caring for people. And I've always cared about that kind of thing too. So it really helped me to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, which was help people and help the world around me, but also do music. So I started bringing them in together. Mm-hmm. I was only about 11, but me and some friends, we wrote to Greenpeace and we tried to make a little project, and I said I could write them a little song if they wanted, but I was obviously too young to work with them at that point.
So, like, your writing style, what was your influences? What sort of stuff were you writing? What sort of stuff were you listening to as you were growing up?
As I was growing up, a big mix, but I would say mostly my mum's music, because she was the one looking after us for most of my life. And she loves Nina Simone. She loves all the strong voices, like she likes Duffy and Dusty Springfield, Nina Simone, Etta James. And then as I got older, I started listening to more of my own music, and I found Amy Winehouse. My dad actually played Valerie for me when I was really little, and I used to, whenever he came back from business trips, watch the music video with him, and I loved it so much. So then I kind of found her myself, and she became my favourite very, very quickly.
You've got that Amy Winehouse look about you as well.
Thank you so much. That's such a good compliment.
You get the voice, but you get the look as well. You look like a young Amy.
So much. Thank you. And we both start with an A, so Amber, Amy, similar enough.
So as we were going on, like I've seen like the press release and all that. So it said as well that you suffered some mental health issues.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how candid you are on that, but if you want to delve into it, it might be useful for people.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm happy to talk about it. I'm going to try and use my music as a platform for it. So
Hmm.
then when I came back, obviously I was a very different kid in year 7, and not many people liked me. They thought I was a bit strange. I didn't like socks because I've been walking around like barefoot for years. So just I was a very strange kid. The teachers thought I wasn't telling the truth about my life either, because I'd been to so many random places and I was telling stories about monkeys and stuff, but it just didn't seem real. So then I think from there I started to not really fit in, and I struggled socially, and I've always been a bit melancholic. I've really cared about the world around me and wanted to help people. And then I think I just struggled to figure out what my place was at that point. And yeah, my mental health started deteriorating a bit. And then in those years, sadly, I wasn't able to do as much music. I lost my motivation for it. And then when I was 17, I struggled a bit with an eating disorder, but I was really unlucky. I got put into a mental hospital in Maidenhead called the Huntercombe. And
Hmm.
I got sectioned there for 2 years, but actually I shouldn't have been. It was just a really bad hospital. So then
That's a long
after
time, isn't it? 2 years.
yeah, 2 years, which is crazy. So then we came out, we had a huge court case to get me out of it. And then finally, now that's still ongoing. There are about 50 kids who shouldn't have been in the hospital as well. And then that's when I kind of decided that I really wanted to do music, because I started talking to the news about my mental health and wanting to make a difference. But I also care about music and singing, and I realized I could probably do them both simultaneously. And that's what I've decided to now do.
Yeah, it must be that must be so hard when you think about like you starting this career and
Yeah.
you've had 2 years basically taken away from you.
Yeah, it was. And they were very core years of my life, I think. And it was so easy to happen. I really didn't think I went in voluntarily, and then so quickly it all just switches around, which is why I've done little talks for parents, for kids with mental health and things, because there's not enough information about it all, I don't think.
And is that all sorted now legally?
No, so the court case sadly is actually ongoing because there were so many patients. Some of them are still in different hospitals, some are out, so many psychiatrists. That will probably go for a few more years. But the hospital has been closed now. Um, and then all of the patients are getting aftercare now from that. So I'm actually doing, strangely enough, I'm probably in the best place I've been in a long, long time. I've been diagnosed since with PTSD because of all my hospital, but I've
Hmm.
used my music and seeing the world to really help me, yeah, help
Use
live.
that as a therapy.
Yeah, yeah, I really have.
So how long then once you come out and obviously I'd imagine there's a bit of time kind of building yourself back up again
Yeah.
to kind of writing and releasing music and obviously you work with Stuart Epps. So
Yeah.
how did you meet him firstly and how did you get involved?
So that was actually before we ever moved away or anything. My mum took me to a family little Christmas party, and she used to always make me sing. I have really bad stage fright even now, but she used to force me to. And obviously, I didn't have much of a choice when I was little because, she was my mum. So I sung All I Want for Christmas, and Stuart happened to be there as a friend of a friend, and he said to my mum, "Oh, I'm a producer, and if your daughter ever writes music, like, please come and find me because I love her voice." And I didn't know about this. I'd never heard about it. And then when I got out of hospital and I started writing music, my mom was like, "Okay, we're going to Maidenhead. We're going to have a meeting with someone." And I got in the car, and it was Stuart. And he loved my music and he loved my voice still, which was so good. She didn't tell me in case I overthought it and didn't go, but then it just went from there, and we work really well together.
So for the listeners, if they don't know who Stuart Epps is, obviously he's worked with the likes of Elton John, Led Zeppelin, George Harrison, Paul Weller, Robbie Williams, Mark Owen, and I also seen Oasis run about
Yeah, he
the kind
has.
of standing in the shoulder of giants period, I think it is. So
Yeah,
he's got some pedigree, and
he does. Yeah, he's amazing. And he actually started his career as Elton John's soundboy. So when he was like 19, 18, so he talks about Elton all the time. And I have to remember, oh, he's talking about Elton John. Like, not just a random guy called Elton, the big ones.
so for him to kind of like early on show his faith in you, that must be a kind of that must spur you on as well.
It does, yeah, it really does. It helps. It does.
So in like the kind of writing process, what does Stuart do? Does he kind of just is he there to kind of bounce ideas off? Does he have input into that sort of side of it?
So normally for most of my singles, so the last one we did was obviously a cover, but before that I write the songs. And I would write the lyrics, I would come up with my own basic melody and drum line and key and everything. And then once I have the basic, like a demo of what I want, I would send my demo to Stuart and he would then work on the production and getting in session musicians that he loves. He has a few favorite musicians that he works with. And then they come and do their magic and it all gets pulled together.
So Amber May EP came out in December last year. Um, Two songs on it, Run Away With Me and You Don't Love Me Like I Love You. Um, and within the release of that, straight away you had kind of support for BBC, Carrie and David Grant especially,
Yeah.
were bigging you up right away. So what was that like, kind of your first release and for to get that sort of support right away? How did that feel?
So amazing, honestly. To be honest, it was a bit terrifying because when I did get out of hospital, I was really smart before then. I was doing really well, but I came out with no GCSEs, no A levels. I
Mm.
didn't really have many choices about anything, so I decided to do music. But it really is my only choice. It's the only thing I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So as soon as it did do well, it was kind of like it was a big relief. I was like, thank God, okay, at least someone likes it. At least I know it's not completely terrible. At least maybe something can happen out of this.
Mm.
And yeah, it gave me the confidence to keep going, definitely, and to keep promoting myself. And because it is scary as a new artist, nobody talks about it before you have a fan base. Putting yourself out there is terrifying.
And to have somebody like Carrie, obviously, I can mind Carrie for years ago. Well, I can mind both of them. I think David came on to Fame Academy as well. Um, and that like after like looking at you the last couple of days, see like a program like that at this time would have been ideal for you,
Yeah,
and it would have helped you grow. So having so, like those two backing you
yeah,
must be it must feel brilliant. But
it
then
really
to
does.
kind of to release that song, right, and as you say, you come out with no GCSEs and stuff like that. You released that song in December, and then at the start of this year, you went out to Nepal,
Yeah. So I've
um,
been really waiting to do that my
teaching
whole life.
kids.
Yeah,
So,
my whole life I wanted to do that. I wanted to go and teach abroad, but at first I was just too young. I was like 15, and then I got out of hospital. My mom didn't want me to go at first, obviously. She wanted to keep me at home for a little bit. And then
hmm
I was just like, I'm doing it. I looked online at all the places to volunteer abroad, and Nepal was the only one I didn't really know where it was geographically. I didn't know much about it or anything. So I just booked it, and I booked the longest course. I booked like 2 months, and I had no idea what I was going into, but it was the most amazing experience of my whole life. I loved it so much. It's so fulfilling. I love helping people and I love, yeah, making people happy.
and whilst there as well. So it was English you were teaching, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And alongside that, I see you were up on stage quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I was. I really didn't expect to be, but I think it was probably just being around the kids and everything. It gave me so much confidence. And they would ask what I did at home, and I would say sing. So all the kids would ask me to sing in class. And I was just singing there. And then when I'd go out randomly for dinner or something one night, I would just ask if I could get on stage, and I did. And it was amazing. And that's when I also fully decided that I really love stage. I've always loved the spotlight, but I really, really love it now. I really do.
It's probably good as well because you're kind of out the way. You're somewhere else. You can test like the water, and
Exactly.
there's no so many people that know you or whatever. So it's probably less daunting.
Yeah,
To
it was
then
amazing.
to then come back, and in May you released your second single, "Love You Right."
Yeah,
Um, it sounds quite funky as well. So
yeah, definitely.
tell us about that. Tell us about your sound on your first EP to this one, and then obviously we'll touch on your latest release at the end.
I would say so. For my first few songs, I was kind of thinking I had the lyrics written and I knew kind of how I wanted it to sound, but I didn't know what I wanted the instrumental side to be like and if I wanted it to be more funky or relaxed or whatever. And then I was kind of looking around at instruments and I played around with piano and guitar and I kind of stuck with the bass. And I really like bass. I love the way it sounds and I love the saxophone as well. And I really just focused on them two instruments and I was like, oh, I really want to make them into a song, but I'm not a bass player or a sax player. I can do a little bit of bass, but not like crazy. So I started fiddling around with notes and I came up with the loop for the beginning of the sax loop for the beginning of Run Away With Me. And at first it was just that and a beat and me singing on top, and that was the demo that I sent to Stuart. And he actually really loved the riff, so he got that used and he kept it, and it kind of went from there. And it was a similar story with Love You Right. I wrote it on the back of a piece of paper when I was in Nepal. I think it was like on a napkin or something, and then I got back and I was like, Stuart, okay, I think I've got the next single, and I sent it to him, and he was like, oh, I actually really like the demo. And yeah, it worked.
It's funny you saying about you like the bass and the sax because obviously, as I was telling you before we started, so I mean, I know a bass player, obviously Dave McCabe. That's what he started off on bass, and obviously with the Zootons, heavily influenced by Abby's sax. So
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I love those instruments, honestly. I wish I could play sax. It's so cool, like to see sax being played.
especially, yeah, especially in a live setting,
Yeah, yeah.
there's.
I find it as impressive as vocals because it takes more breath and more control. I think it's so impressive.
Hmm. And well, that's it. So I mean, I went to see the Zootons that this year in April, and it's the first time I kind of took the time to look and kind of like Abby playing sax and then taking it out and then singing as well. It must take some effort to marry the two.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So your latest single,
Yes.
a cover of Bob Dylan, "This Wheel's on Fire," which I'm a big Bob Dylan fan,
Are
and I
you?
didn't realise this was a Bob Dylan song. Um, and it wasn't until I was listening to it, and I thought I've heard it, it's catchy, and then it's the chorus, then it's like that's the theme tune for Absolutely Fabulous.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. But this is the thing with like Bob Dylan songs, he's got that many as well. So like when Adele released
Yeah.
the first album, "Make You Feel My Love," I'm not sure many people realised that was a Bob
No,
Dylan song.
nobody does. And actually, Stuart chose this song at first. He sent it to me, and that was his reason. So he found out that "To Make You Feel My Love" was written by Bob Dylan, and he thought nobody knows this, and it did really well for Adele. So what other songs has Bob Dylan written? And he started looking, and then he found this "Wheels on Fire" and sent it to me. And I didn't know it was Bob Dylan either at this point. And I listened to it, and I liked it, but I wasn't sure how to make it mine, to be honest, because the Julie Driscoll version is very different to my normal style of music, and so I was listening to it for a while. I hadn't even agreed to do it yet, and then I was listening to Amy Winehouse "Back to Black," and
Hmm.
I started humming "Wheels on Fire" on top, like genuinely on while she was singing, and I realized that I really liked them together. So we used the piano from "Back to Black" on my new single, "This Wheels on Fire," and that's why a lot of people hear it and they're like, "Oh, sounds a bit like Amy Winehouse." And I can
Yeah.
say, "Can you guess why?" And people can't guess; they can't pick out the piano most of the time. The only people who have been able to are Carrie and David so far.
Well, I mean, I did think it sounded really like Amy Winehouse, and I did notice the piano, but so was that like the actual piano for that song?
Yeah, I took the sample from Back to Black and then used that to record the demo. I made it into like a loop and then sent it over, and Stuart loved it. He really loved it, and we
Yeah,
went from there.
understandably. I mean, I've been bigging you up the last few weeks. I've been telling people at work that I've got this wee lassie. She sounds really like Amy Winehouse, and she's coming on the podcast. So for that, I mean, that's a brilliant wee
Thank you
story,
so
a wee
much.
marry up of the two songs, and it does, man. It is so Amy Winehousey, but no like you're copying. It's like you can see that you put your own style on it. what's coming up next then in terms of like what's the next direction?
Well, at the moment, I've just been writing, writing, writing. I've got so many songs, so I would be ready to release an EP or album, but I have different people telling me different things to do. Stuart thinks for now we should release singles because I don't know,
Hmm.
sometimes I think they get better feedback than an album, but hopefully I'll be releasing singles and an album by next year. I'll have an album or two out and then a tour. I would love to. I want to perform more and be on stage.
That's what I mean. I was looking at your obviously on your Instagram and your live stuff. It seems to be like kind of small festivals
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So, what like sort of have you never been out and played like gigs in like proper venues?
I've done a few little ones, but no, not many. Because to be honest, I've only really done it for a year, and I don't have an agent or anything yet. I'm just kind of doing it independently, and then through Stuart and things like that. So we haven't really been able to book any, but I'm looking into it, and I would love to as soon as the opportunity comes up. So hopefully,
In the search for a manager and stuff like that, maybe.
yeah, that's what's on the plan. Hopefully, on the cards.
I would say I would throw my hat in the ring. I managed a band for a year there.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll remember that.
but I should look me up if you're struggling to get a manager. I might be able to help it.
Yeah, I actually will. Thank you. Sorted. I might have done it now. Tick. Sorted.
I mean I'm looking forward to it, and I would love to see you live
That would be
because I
amazing.
think the bigger audience would suit you.
I think
I
so
think
too.
you
I
would
feel it,
I
and
think
I
you would
think,
thrive in the like actual gig venues and stuff like that.
yeah, I think so. And I love performing. I think I get sometimes more nervous in smaller crowds, but as soon as there's more people, I can let it out because I know they're all there to see me.
Hmm. So obviously the last part of the podcast it's called Time for Heroes, and you probably touched on a lot of these people already through the interview. But the last question is dinner party. You can invite four heroes. Why you're inviting them? Why they're your heroes, and what would you cook for them?
Oh my gosh.
I've
Well,
got I've got your I've got your pics here that Mike sent me a
I'll
couple of
probably
days ago.
change them though. Okay, Amy Winehouse, definitely. She would be a one.
I
And
can't imagine why you would have Amy Winehouse.
no, well, me neither, to be honest. I think that's just a random one in there, but so probably her. And then, who else would I choose? So difficult now. My mind's gone blank. Probably, I don't know. There's so
So
many.
so the ones that I get sent through, obviously Amy Winehouse, Nina Simone, who you touched on
I
earlier,
love her voice. Yes, that's a
Kurt Cobain,
good
and
one.
the last one was Princess Diana.
Oh, I think I chose them because Nina Simone, I love her voice. She's amazing. I feel like she would talk really cool as well. I'd love to just listen to her talk for ages. Amy Winehouse is just a really cool person. Kurt Cobain, I think he's just cool as well. And Princess Diana was just a really nice person with a good heart. So I think I'd
Hmm.
like her. But I'll switch that out. Martin Morell as well.
Oh, perfect. That is very
Have you
rarely
been
I get
chosen
picked
yet?
for it. Well, I'll let you hear for that. I'll come on as well. I mean, I'd love to meet Kurt Cobain and Amy Winehouse. I think
Yeah,
they two would fit together perfectly.
I think so too.
Um, and what would you cook for them? Whether I know you're a good cook, but I'm just thinking because you've been all over the world, you must have some.
I love cooking, but the problem is people are so fussy. So I always have to ask people first because everyone's like they have different things that they like and don't like. So I would probably have to ask them because they seem like they'd be a bit fussy amongst them.
Okay, you sound like you're a bit of a people pleaser as well. You're not like to offend any of these guys.
Yeah, I am. I really am.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you.
You as well. Thank you so
Um,
much. You've been lovely.
I wish you all the best for what comes up. I'm looking forward to yours. your next release and for, as I say, to see you live at some point next year, maybe. Hats off to you, and it's incredible to think about all the struggles you had the couple of years as well for you to be in this position. You've got all my backing as well, along with Stuart Epps and Carrie and David Grant and your parents and all that. I wish you well in the future.
Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you about management very soon.
Thank you.
Have a
It's
very,
been an
very
absolute
good day.
pleasure speaking. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Time for Heroes podcast. If you would like to get in touch, the best way is on the Facebook page, Time for Heroes podcast, or on Instagram at Time for Heroes podcast, or Twitter at Time for Heroes P1, or drop me an email at timeforheroespod@gmail.com. You'll find Time for Heroes on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple, Google and Amazon. Please leave a review where you can, share with others, and more importantly, enjoy.